And of course, tomorrow we got NVIDIA after the bell. So just buckle up. Don't panic. I've got your back. In the meantime, as the markets pull back, a lot of questions are being raised about the state of wealthy Americans, because that's who's kept us afloat. America right now, we're living in a time that would make Charles Dickens blush. Look at this, folks. The wealthiest 10% of Americans drive half the spending, 10%. And this chart is a great example of what that looks like in real life. Shares of Ferrari through the roof. Shares of Dollar General absolutely crushed in the last couple of years. And everyone else just really trying to keep up. And of course, those who are trying to keep up, they're falling deeper into debt and as a consequence, deeper into despair. I want to bring in a power panel, folks. Now, the Federalist elections correspondent, Brianna Lyman, along with New York Post elections editor, Kelly Jane Torrance. It's just nuts to me. One of the things I've always hated is when these economists come in, and I love them, but I just feel like they got to get out the ivory tower, right? When they say the consumer and they lump everyone together, it's these wealthy folks. They're having a great time, but a lot of other people just wonder how they make ends meet.
Yeah, I'm a fan of Charles Dickens, Charles, but I don't want to live in that reality.
Right.
And, this really shows, I think, the Biden economy was not what was promised. Joe Biden said he was going to be for the working man. He's going to help the middle class. Well, he helped the wealthiest, really. And, I remember having some conversations here in Manhattan, and some, people on the right who did not like Biden, but who had a lot of money said, this isn't affecting me. I can still, the raised gas prices, I barely notice it when I go to Gas Up.
Right.
But it's everybody else who really notices it.
Well, that was the election. That's what shocked a lot of folks, Brianna, about the election outcome.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't shock me. I was talking about it, but a lot of people in the ivory towers felt the same way. Well, all the data points to a very healthy consumer and strong economy.
Yeah, we were told that this was the strongest economy going to the election. And when we talk about all these higher earnings, look, higher earnings obviously have more disposable income, so they can have all this discretionary spending. But what is driving this disposable income? We know that wealthier people are more involved in the stock market. That is not a long-term sustainable way to keep the economy afloat if that's what's driving their spending.
And then the wild card was that the Federal Reserve hiked rates. Mm-hmm. So all of a sudden, trillions of dollars went into money markets. Look at Warren Buffett. He's sitting on $350 billion. Why? Because he doesn't have to do anything. You get 5%. So in the meantime, if you're not wealthy, the only thing you get is a higher credit card rate. Instead of paying 15%, you're paying 23%.
Exactly, Charles. And, someone who actually has some credit card debt, I always wish they would put someone like me on the Fed. We could have a voice as well on the Federal Reserve. But look, the Biden economy was a lot about subsidies as well.
Right.
Green energy.
Right.
And giving people, tax breaks on electric vehicles.
Well,
that, again, helps the wealthy.
Who are wealthy, right, already. Hey, I'm going to get to something in a minute, but speaking of wealthy, I saw this and I just had to bring up this Fry Festival thing. They're going to do it again. Of course, he went to jail. This guy, McFarland. The tickets are like the package starts at $1.1 million, Brianna. I know. Are you going?
No. If I had $1 million, it's not what I'd be spending it on.
It's just, don't you find it crazy? I mean, how gullible are we as a nation?
These people don't want to learn their lessons. They saw what happened to other people who bought these tickets. Now they're like, you know what? I'm going to double down. This feels right.
Yeah, I mean, I saw the documentary, and I just don't want to be stuck out in a monsoon without even a life vest.
See, but now it's a story about the story. Maybe people are going just to say
they went there.
It's actually not about the experience.
It's going to be a flex. Like, I went to the
It's like Woodstock, too.
Exactly. All right. This is really amazing. We just talked about the election and the consequences of it. The millennial virtue economy is dead. I saw this article, and it's really fascinating because a couple of parts in here. The millennial economy was a virtue economy. Health, managerial roles in tech, education, finance, arts, politics, all centered on controlling and reshaping language and brand perception, what we might call virtue refereeing. Mm-hmm. Now they say many Americans are just looking forward to paying fewer taxes indirectly into the managerial caste pocketbook and to the potential for reshoring industrial jobs. In other words, the tide has shifted, right? I mean, these elites no longer control, and the millennials are finding that out the hard way. It's
great, Charles. And you think about it, I mean, throughout government as well as private business, you've had this extra layer that's made everything cost more. Book publishers have referees now to read books and find out any triggering language, not to mention all the DEI stuff and government. Now, that stuff makes everything more expensive. And these people are making a lot of money. If you look at universities, how these people, the DEI stuff staff are often making more than faculty members doing actual research that might help humanity. So there's a lot of wasted money going here, and certainly, it'll be interesting to see where they go. Hopefully not somewhere where they can, rest and come back even bigger. But this is going to be huge for Americans, both economically and culturally.
Yeah, culturally, the millennials are like, okay, this is it, huh? Oh, man, got to get your hands dirty. Before we go, I said the German election, there was an intriguing move, right? There's an intriguing bifurcation, if you will, with young women voters and young men voters. And I thought it was a U.S. phenomenon, but apparently it's not in these Western cultures. How do you explain that? Now, before you answer that, yesterday there was an announcement by Orban in Hungary, right, that they're going to increase the tax benefits for women, right? If women who have 2 or 3 children will be exempted from income taxes. There's something going on in these Western nations where people are just down. They're suffering, I guess, some sort of mental sadness. What is it?
Charles, I'm telling you, they're suffering from the obnoxious girl boss regime that encourages young women in particular to be hyper independent. And as a result of this hyper independence, we have young men shifting more to the right because they feel like they don't have a place in society. And you talk about this tax credit. Women actually want to be mothers and have families, but it's not financially possible in certain instances. So what we see happening in Hungary, what we saw happen in the 1950s in the United States, a tax code that incentivizes a nuclear family, incentivizes a mother being able to stay home. That is a cultural shift, absolutely, and it'll have really good benefits for not only population growth, which we need, but just our society.
I think so. When you talk about the good old days, I think a lot of people envision that as the good old days, right? And that's when America took off, right? It began in the Roaring '20s, where the household formation, you had the kids, you got a car, and it was all those steps. And now all of a sudden, getting back to the prior topic of the virtual stuff, it's changed a lot. We got to leave it there. Kelly, Jane, Brianna, thank you both very much. All right, folks, the American dream, it is alive and well, but you have to take the bull by the horns. My next guest, people love this guy. He came from a troubled childhood, a life of crime. There was all kinds of violence in his background, but he served in the military. He became successful with business, and now he is the $1 trillion man. Dan Pena is next.
Don't stop, make it pop, DJ, blow my speakers up tonight. I'ma fight till we see the sunlight. Tick tock on the clock, but the party don't stop now.
Trading at Schwab is now powered by Ameritrade, unlocking the power of Thinkorswim, the award-winning trading platforms. Bring your trades into focus on Thinkorswim desktop with robust charting and analysis tools, including over 400 technical studies. Tailor the platforms to your unique needs with nearly endless customization. And track market trends with up-to-the-minute news and insights. Trade brilliantly with Schwab.
When emergency strikes, first responders are the first ones in. But on outdated networks, the crucial technology they depend on is limited. That's why T-Mobile created T-Priority, the only solution built for the 5G era that can dynamically dedicate up to 10 times the capacity for first responders. T-Priority, built for tomorrow's emergencies. Ready today.
It came suddenly, a financial storm no one knew was coming. That's why the wise investor turns to one of the most secure investments on Wall Street, or any street, Assured Guaranty, the proven leader in municipal bond insurance.
This is the Emirates Premium Economy seat. Economy. Perhaps they need to call it something else.
It makes me want to tear up. I swear to God. My business has tripled in the last year because of me sharing my videos on TikTok. I wouldn't be able to support the families that work for me now without TikTok.
In the world of investing, a